Right.
Your neighbor tells you about the unstable man in the cul-de-sac who claims to have been abducted by aliens. And then there's the woman in town who claims to see Bigfoot all the time. Your boss, who you greatly admire, confides in you that he has started speaking with his wife daily when he gets home from work. She died 8 years ago. It's hard to believe this stuff, and you write these stories off as overactive imaginations. Are these people seeking attention, or are they a bit unstable? No matter what you think, if you're like me, you walk away wondering, what if that was true? The What If It's True podcast features stories by ordinary people like you and me. Something has happened to them, something so strange they are in agony unless they tell others. My name is Cameron Buckner, and the What If It's True podcast is available at whatifitstruepodcast.com and on all available podcast apps.
We're live, Mark.
We are live. Man, we got a great show tonight, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And you're not supposed to be alive. You went to the infamous Brown Springs.
Man, I have been, that's been on my bucket list since we have sat around campfires with Dan, Ricky, and Vicky Ricky. And
That's right.
but I guess before we get started, man, we got some exciting news, and we're going to announce it again at the end. But Larry and I both got a phone call from Cam Buckner today. And Cam is going to be doing a live broadcast tomorrow night. And Larry, you want to tell them who the real guest of the show is?
The real guest of the show is Mr. Kerry Arnold because he is going to be releasing the 168 at some point this week. Do you know exactly when, Mark?
No, I talked to Kerry today, and he did. I didn't even ask him when he was going to release it. I know he's sick of people asking when he's going to release it, but I don't know. I'm just excited to go on Dixie Cryptid. And so y'all make sure that y'all are watching Facebook. And if you're not subscribed to Dixie Cryptid or What If It's True, then subscribe, because he is going to be announcing it. And we will be on tomorrow night with Cam Buckner and Kerry Arnold.
It's going to be good. Definitely. A lot of fun. Now then, what about the fun you had this weekend?
Man, it was a blast. Like I said, that's one place that I have always wanted to go. And if not only heard stories from Dan and Vicky, but from other people, and seeing things and watching Texas Front Porch, and because that's kind of his research area.
Yeah.
So, but we had a film crew come out to film this. And I tell you, I am so impressed. I want to talk about their skills tonight. I want to spend some time talking about that. But how this got started was Russell from Mogollon was moving from Arizona to Florida. And so he had some raffles set up so that, and one of the person we donated to it, and another person was Tex, and he donated a Brown Springs outing. Well, Christine and Larry, we've been pronouncing her name wrong all along, and I can't remember how to pronounce it. So,
well, we're good at that. We
Yeah.
are very good at mispronouncing names.
But y'all know her as CD Squatcher, and she is the one that won the Brown Springs outing. And she asked me if I would go with her. And so I jumped all over it. And so here we go. You know, I got my Brown Springs.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't get Brown Strings.
I think Brown Springs is right next to Skid Mark, Oklahoma.
That could have been some of Bama's thongs or something, you know?
Yeah. So that was the setup, and we will talk about everybody that came, but man, we had a great group of people that came down there. But we're very fortunate tonight to have Josh and Marianne with us from Tippa TV. And they were the production company that came out and filmed this. So we're not going to go into a whole lot of details of the different things and interactions that we had there, but we will kind of hopefully this will be a teaser. So Josh is an expert editor, and so it is not going to take him long to put this documentary out. So you will be surprised at how fast he will put this out. So without further ado,
is that Joe Ledoux? All right, let's bring on Josh and Marianne. Hello, guys. How are y'all?
Hello.
We're good. How are you doing?
Good.
Very good.
We're a lot nicer smelling than last time he saw us.
True story. True.
That's always good. So this basically got set up because Tex donated a Brown Springs trip to the WTF, which is Moog's show that comes on Tuesday and Thursday nights. And CD Squatcher invited Mark. And how did y'all come about getting involved with it?
Well, we actually had Tex on one of our shows. We have a show every Sunday at 6, and it's about learning Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And we started the show because we were talking with Carrie Arnold about coming out and filming this next
the next 168.
Next one in next month?
November.
In November. Wow, that's soon.
I know.
And we started interviewing different people. In fact, a couple of your guests in your chat right now, we've interviewed them on our show. And we were talking to Tex, and Tex hit us up out of the blue, and he was like, "Hey, I got an idea. What if you want a dry run at doing this before you actually head to Florida?"
Right.
We were like, "Heck yeah! Where and when?"
Yeah.
So
you packed up and drove 2 days, correct?
2 days.
We drove 2 days, not just us, but we also have Scout, our dog. We're training him in the paranormal field.
Yep.
And we slept in the Jeep and drove in the Jeep and pretty much didn't stop until we got there.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Now, this was y'all's first Bigfoot outing, correct?
That's correct.
Yep. Our official one, yeah.
What are y'all's thoughts on arriving, not really knowing what to expect, and just your overall perspective of a Bigfoot outing?
Well, I gotta laugh because of not knowing and what to expect. Oh, cool! Thanks, Mike's Adventures.
Woo!
Well, we had no clue, so I was planning on coming in like a sponge, just like we are on our show, and just trying to absorb as much as we can. And when we turned onto the dirt road to get to camp, we really wasn't sure because we were told to look for orange cones, and there wasn't really orange cones per se. And
I'll look for something orange. I don't know, an orange tree, an orange basket, something orange. Look for something orange.
but it was late. It was dark. It was nighttime, and we followed the GPS coordinates, hooked a right, and we saw some vehicles way down at the end of the road. It's like, okay, well, we'll go down there and see if that's them. We pull up and we don't see faces. We don't see people. We just see these headlamps walking towards us. Don't know who the heck it is. And it's like, are we at the right place? And fortunately, we got lucky and
We're
we
like,
was
yep.
at the right place.
Yay. I
But,
don't know who I'm talking to, but hey.
but when we first got there, obviously we were exhausted because of all the driving and everything. And so we reconfigured the Jeep so Marianne could climb in and sleep. And I just kind of sat around with everybody talking, asking questions, because a lot of time when we talk about Bigfoot, everybody tells us the same thing. You know, we don't know anything. We don't know anything either. It's, you know, but we found that you guys carry a lot more information than we do. So when we were sitting around the campfire, I started asking specific questions that have been running through my mind, you know. Is smell a concern, like people wearing perfume or deodorant, things like that? Is that a deterrent, or the opposite? Certain color of outfits, is that a deterrent or not? And so I just started dropping all these questions I could think of, and the conversations really carried all over the place. But we talked for quite a while, and then we all went to sleep and woke up the next morning. We slept in a little bit because obviously we were tired. And we got to actually see our surroundings, because before that, all we saw was darkness. In fact, when we first started going down that dirt road, we saw some eyeballs peeking out of the bushes at us through our headlights. We saw the reflection, and we're like, uh-oh. Then right after that, we saw a shooting star in the sky, and we're like, okay, we're at the right place.
Yeah.
But what was your first impression? What was your first impression?
I can't even hear him next to me. It's the weirdest thing. Gotta try and read lips.
It's a good thing.
No, it was phenomenal. I loved meeting up with everybody. I think, like he says, the next day is kind of where it officially started for us, since we kind of could see our surroundings, and I was conscious. But no, we had a phenomenal group of people, and just hearing stories and hearing experiences, not even necessarily Bigfoot related, but just you see where people are coming from, their background, and what they bring to the environment when you're on an expedition like that. It was really a good way to kind of get the overall picture of what this trip was going to be about and what to expect. That was one for my bucket list too. And I didn't know nothing about Brown Springs at all. So to be there and to be with the group of people that we had, man, you can't top that. That was quite the adventure.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of activities did y'all expect to take part in as you were researching this area?
That's the one thing that we don't ever anticipate or expect. We just keep open. We keep open for anything that could happen.
Right.
Just being aware. I think just like he said, being open-minded and just being aware of your environment and your surroundings. Because, you know, the one thing that I've learned throughout this process and talking with other people is that we miss so much anyway, because we're distracted by our phones and our thoughts on our, you know, other people and whatever we're doing. We're looking down, we're not looking up, we're looking, you know, we're so distracted. We're missing so much crap anyway. The biggest thing for me was be aware. Like, be aware to what your body's telling you, be aware of what your ears are telling you, be aware of what, you know, your senses are telling you, your smells, you know,
Your dog.
Be aware. Yeah, of what your dog is telling you too, because he picked up on a couple of things as well. So, yeah.
One thing that I would like to say about this area, and I did not know it until recently, but Larry's favorite Netflix show was Tiger King.
Yes.
I think Larry and Tiger King are pen pals. I think Larry is writing him every week and sending him gifts and stuff like that.
Oh, for his knee brace.
But where Tiger King had all of his tigers and his little tiger farm and all of that was about 40 miles away. Now, when Tiger King went to jail, it was sold and it was moved to about 2 miles away. And there were some cats that got loose. And Tex was talking to some law enforcement that came up on him while he was researching there. And they had the tribal police with them. And that's where he got his information from. Because one night he saw at the cemetery some eye shine. And, he said, they were just huge and they were far apart. And of course, when you're Bigfoot hunting, you think, there he is. But since then, after talking to the law enforcement people, it may not have been. It could have been one of these cats that had escaped. And he talked about there was quite a few cats that got away. So that's just something else in the equation that we had to deal with while we were doing our night hikes and moving around. Could there be a full-grown tiger out here?
I'm pretty sure that Brian and Shane from the SBA got a picture on a trail cam of a big cat in their area, which probably isn't far from there, but I don't know. So,
I would like to talk about the people that we met there, and each of us was interviewed by Josh and Marianne for the documentary. And one thing that I talked about is when I go on outings, I really just appreciate my friends that are there and the new friends that I meet. And that is the biggest thing that I took away from this outing were the people that I met and the people that I enjoyed my time with there. So I thought I would just maybe throw out some names here. Now, Randy, he was the sleeper, as Mogs would call him, because I had no idea how I would connect with Randy Gilbert, because he was such a funny guy. He was easygoing, and I just really enjoyed my time with Randy what are y'all's thoughts on Randy there?
I love Randy, man. That awesome dude. Yes. What? Yes, you. Awesome personality. Just good people. You know, I mean, you talk with Randy for a little bit, and you know this. He's a good guy. He's a good friend. Love to get to know him a little better and hang out some more because that was such a fun experience.
I agree. I mean, we tolerated Randy. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke, Randy. No, he was really cool because he comes more from the ghost hunting aspect, from what I believe, and so he understands the spiritual side and things like that. And me and him actually pursued an encounter at a certain point as well, and just seeing how he was ready to go forward no matter what was happening, and no matter what he was doing was really impressive. And sitting down around the campfire, man, it's just like we'd known each other for a long time because we could talk about anything and didn't feel like we were being judged or criticized or anything like that. So definitely enjoyed Randy's company.
And makes a mean breakfast burrito.
All right. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, I want to talk about one of who I consider a mentor that was there, and that is Christine. She has been involved in the Bigfoot community for so many years, knows so many big hitters, gets invited to so many things, and she's going to be at the next 168. And
cool.
I'm going to tell you that she is just a joy to be around. She has flown in twice from Florida to Tennessee to come to our meet and greets, and she is just not going to let anything slow her down. So
Can't hide money.
Can't hide money. So what's y'all's thoughts on Miss Christine?
I think she was an amazing lady, to be honest with you. Again, the first night I was there and Marianne went and laid down, sitting around the campfire talking. She has a lot of knowledge. She speaks from experience, and I think that matters a lot more than speaking off of theories when you're in those kind of environments. She did a technique where I wasn't really familiar with, but once I saw her do it, I thought that was genius. And we'll be mentioning that in the documentary. But she was, again, another person that was really easy to talk to. We didn't know she won the trip.
Yeah.
We found that out like second to last day we were there. But she was easy to just sit down with and talk to and listen to her stories and things like that, because I mean, she knows, she's been around, she's talked to enough people, she's had her own experiences, and it all started from her starting to do recover and started talking to people and watching people and stuff like that. And I thought that was phenomenal, that it doesn't matter how old you are, if you're driven, you're going to go out in those woods and you're going to have an experience of some sort, and she does. And her and Marianne have matching shirts.
Yes. Dude, Christine is my soul sister. I'm telling you. I am so glad that she was there, because I mean, just the amount of knowledge that she has, the experiences, like Josh said, that she's got. She I love her. I can't even get enough words out, because it's just, it's hard to explain the connection that she and I had there. Just a lot of the same kind of dreams and goals that we'd had, and life paths that kind of take turns and things. But it was just really awesome to talk to somebody that you just really clicked with like that. That was awesome, and I intend on staying good friends. We're gonna keep in contact for sure, because I tell you, we came in looking like twinners just because we were both wearing the same exact shirt. And, I mean, it was like the universe knew.
Now, there was somebody else there that I was really looking forward to meeting. One reason is because I see him and his son. They are with P3 Productions, and it was Gary Spikes Sr. Junior was at another outing and not able to make it, but Senior left that outing and come, and it was just so exciting to meet him. What a great guy he is. So, and he researches Brown Springs. So he brought a lot of knowledge with him, and he has had a lot of experiences. So what were y'all thoughts on Gary?
Gary's cool. I mean, he knows this stuff. He does. He knows this stuff. He knows how to camp. He knows how to prepare. He knows. We were geeking out over his gearbox because he thought it through, and he's got it all planned out. I have a feeling that because it was such a short amount of time that I didn't really get a whole lot of one-on-one with Gary Sr., but from the way he carries himself and the way that he's got a lot of knowledge back there and a lot of experience, great tracking skills. He was teaching me a lot of things. I'd love to learn more about tracking and things like that. But yeah, I enjoyed listening to him talk.
You want to talk about a beast? He's a beast. He's in a small package, but he's a beast.
Yes. Yes. It was an honor.
He showed up, and all of a sudden everybody was like, he's here.
Yes.
and he comes out, and he's just ready to work. He's like, okay, let's get up, set up a light here, and okay, I'm going to set my tent up over here. And like she said, we went over and we were checking out his trailer, and he custom built it himself. And it was like, it was amazing to see just that. And then talking to him and him sharing his experiences there and other experiences as well. And we've had the opportunity of talking with Junior before again on our show. And we've been seeing Senior showing up a lot in the chats and on our videos and everything else. And I was just amped to meet the guy, especially after hearing his son talking about him. And it was nothing less than just amazing to just sit down and talk with him and go through all his experiences. Not just that, but to go walking around and listening to him and watching how he checks things and analyzes things. It was very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Now, Larry, this next person I want to talk about is smarter than me and you put together.
That's not real hard.
No, that's not too hard. But I'm gonna tell you, he's sharp. And I was thrilled to be able to meet him. I have been on different podcasts with him, but never had the honor of meeting him in person. And I'm talking about Jason. And so what are y'all's thoughts on Jason?
Well, we just recently had him on a show, and so we've had the opportunity of talking to him a bit, and man, he is everything that you see on the shows on the front porch and everywhere else. This guy just contains so much information and makes anybody around him feel a little bit dumber. Because you could bring up any topic and he's going to not only have opinions, but he's already researched it. He's already looked into it. He's found documentation. He has things to back up what he's talking about. And he can be really funny. He pops off with some of the funniest jokes and everything. He could also fall asleep sitting in a chair and just answer a question 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
Right?
Plus, I mean, he spent his birthday with us, and that was pretty cool. I mean, and And he made us dinner on his birthday, which was phenomenal. I got to say, that was really, really good. But yeah, I was really impressed with how, like he said, how much knowledge is stored up there and how much he can recall all of it with the sources. It's not just, hey, I heard this. You know, if he did, he'll say, hey, I heard this. I don't know. But he has a lot of that knowledge. Just what I mean, you hear him talking, your jaw just drops to the ground because you're like, and we were lucky enough to walk away with one of his books.
All right.
So I'm going to be reading that
Even
one.
signed.
And it's signed. Yes. But no, he is just one amazing guy.
Now, there was another icon, we might say, that was there that's been researching since he had his sighting over 30 years ago. And he is an amazing person. His wife is an amazing person. He holds the Beachfoot every year. He's from Oregon, and his name was Todd Nice. What are y'all thoughts on Todd?
You go first.
I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time one-on-one with Todd, but I did get to see some of the pictures and the stories he was telling me about some of his expeditions or whatever. That looked really awesome. I mean, he's done his research. He's been out in the field, like he's been around. He's seen. He's experienced. And the one thing that I wish I would have been able to do on this last Brown Springs expedition is to spend a little bit more time getting the stories, getting more stories from him, because he was showing us pictures. He was actually taking pictures too, so that we could get them, which I'm really grateful for. Just really awesome.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy who, again, has a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience behind him, just like a lot of the other people. He's somebody you could actually get into pretty deep conversations with, because he's pretty strong-footed on his viewpoint. And there was a couple of times where he was talking to me, the first night even, where everybody else had gone to bed, and it's just me and him sitting there talking around the campfire. And he has a lot of viewpoints. He has a lot of opinions of a lot of different directions. One thing he told me is that he always asks himself, why me? And what part of his mission is to find the answer to that question. Why him? Why was he the one who had that experience? And seeing him driven to try to seek out that answer and try to figure it out. And he was also telling me that he's put together an organization too, where he's actually trying to work with some Native American groups, in regards to finding out more about Bigfoot and possibly even eventually being able to help protect them. So I was impressed with that. I really was.
Now, I guess we might say the man of the hour who put this all together is Tex. And I'm going to tell you, he is probably one of the best outing hosts that I have walked into, and everything was provided because Christine and myself flew in. We had one thing that we could bring was what we could fit in a suitcase. And he had tents available, for us, hammocks. I'll tell a hammock story here in a little bit. And food, had tables set up. We wanted for nothing. And I cannot commend Tex enough for how he put it together. There was much thought gone into this. Everybody that flew in or drove in from different parts of the country had no problem finding the location because we were in a remote area. And so y'all tell us what y'all's thoughts were of Tex. And hey, and remember, we don't allow cussing on here.
So we'll just use the word like in place of a cuss. Okay? I like Tex.
No, Tex is. I mean, we had met him at the family reunion, the YouTube reunion, but didn't get to spend a whole lot of time. We just, go, busy. But we did get to meet him and talk to him for a little bit. But I'll tell you, Tex is a man with a heart of gold, personality larger than life. He is just, he's generous, he's kind, he's warm, he's welcoming. You can tell he really genuinely cares about everybody.
And he was armed.
So I gotta say it. No, no, I really do mean that. You could tell that he really cared about everybody that was there and their well-being. I lost my next sentence. So
my hand went up.
Take it away, Josh.
Tex's utmost concern was our safety.
Yeah, it was.
And he felt responsible for each and every one of us. And so he wanted to make sure each and every one of us was safe, but yet was able to have the experience we were searching for. I mean, he even took a pretty hard fall himself. And he got up, he was able to brush it off, and he was back moving forward with what he was doing. Camp was already set up when we got there, obviously, and the poor guy was asleep when we got there. But once he heard we were there, he crawled out of his tent and came over, grabbed a bag of donuts, and offered everybody a donut. And sat there for a little bit talking to us all. And man, I could talk to that guy for hours. I really can, just because. Again, he's the real deal. What you see on these shows, what you hear when he was talking to you, it's the real deal.
Absolutely.
And he tried to take our dog. He fell in love with Scout. He was even telling his wife how incredible Scout was. I never wanted another dog, but this dog might change my mind. So no, I think Tex is one of those kind of guys you fall in love with right as soon as you meet him. And he's a true friend, and he'll stick by your side all the way through.
Absolutely. You knew that you were in good hands the entire time, and that was awesome. You just knew that you were going to be safe and have a good time the entire time. You knew that you were in good hands.
What were y'all thoughts on that shifty guy named Mark?
Well, we didn't know if he lived there in the woods or if he was part of the camp. He just kind of showed up. It's like, who is that guy?
Was he wearing pants?
No, oddly enough, there are no pants in sight. So
that's normal.
Oh man, Mark, I gotta say that I was impressed with your style. Walking through, watching how the nighttime investigation went, and just seeing the thought process and how you put it together and how you stay on top of it, make sure everybody's going in, everybody has a place where they're supposed to be, and the group stays together. I was very impressed with the way that was conducted. And again, sitting around the campfire, another guy you could sit there and talk to for hours and just pick the brain and get ideas and get feedback about things, because we're coming into this like Scout, like we're pups. We don't know anything. We're relying on all you guys for the information, so we can be as safe as possible, yet be out of the way as much and film all you guys as much as we can. So definitely was impressed with the whole approach that Mark took. I know you weren't there; you were back at camp.
Yeah, but I know. I mean, I was talking to him on the trip home and saying, "Man, Mark was awesome, just real down to earth, genuine guy. I mean, genuine. I just, you knew you were the real deal, and I loved hearing your story and your interview, and I loved talking with you, and just the bantering that we all had. It was so great. It was so great, and I was honored to have met you too, because now that we know each other, we're going to keep in contact as well.
You're stuck with us.
Yep.
All right, Mark. How much money did you pay him for all that?
Not a thing.
We haven't sent him the invoice yet.
I'm just going to say this. When they first pulled up, of course, we didn't know who was pulling up. It's dark. And they pulled up, and I walked up to the Jeep, and their window doesn't roll down all the way. So, and it's muddy and dirty and dusty, and I can just kind of see in there, and the window's cracked a little bit. And my first words were to them, I said, "Y'all gonna have to step out of the vehicle. We're going to need to search it."
He didn't know we had a dog.
You sure you want to search this car?
It was cool.
That was fun. The whole thing from beginning to end was an experience I'll never forget. Like you said, we really didn't have any expectations going into it, because we just really didn't. We really had no idea about anything. The area, who was going to be there, we had no. We just knew we were supposed to be there. So, it was an experience that I won't ever forget. And we met some amazing people that now are friends, now are family.
Yeah. I would like to talk about, and we will get Larry tomorrow to post in the comment section, y'all's YouTube channel. And I would like for you to talk about how y'all's YouTube channel started off. And I want to encourage everyone out there that watches this podcast to make sure that you go to Tippa TV and subscribe. So if y'all will tell us a little bit about y'all's channel.
I'll let you take this one.
Why?
Because you're good. This is our channel right here.
This is our channel. So our channel deals with a lot of paranormal being. We had a ghost hunting team for how many years did we figure?
Over 10.
Over 10 years. So long time. Well respected up here in the area. Never did anything on YouTube a whole lot, but until this last year, started out with some randonauting and some ghost hunting, things like that. We do some urban exploring. Now Bigfoot as well in there. So we just kind of have a little bit of an umbrella in the paranormal.
Yeah, the channel initially started out, ironically enough, by us watching YouTube.
Yes, it did.
We were watching a pretty popular channel out there, Gosh TV, I guess I could say his name. And he had an episode where he was doing a randonautica, and he ended up at this cemetery, or this playground right next to a cemetery. And we paused the video halfway through, downloaded the app, ran out, jumped in our car, and took off with our cameras and just started filming us going out. That's when I got chased by a cow at midnight. Didn't see the cow, but you could hear it.
And it was big and it was fast, and we got in the car.
And we just uploaded a couple of videos, and then all of a sudden one of our videos shot through the roof with views and subscribers, and we're like, oh crap, people actually like us. So we started making more videos, and the more videos we made, the more connections we made, the more motivated we were to travel the country. And so we actually made it all the way to Florida and back, and got to meet up with a lot of cool people. And then just recently, we decided that we were going to bring on a puppy and train him in the paranormal field. So our goal is to train him not only for protection, but also to train them to be able to pick up on mold, mildew, asbestos, things that could harm us, and alert us that it's present, as well as protect us from people that are hiding and might have bad, amongst other things. So we started a second channel now. We only have 2 videos on there, but it's called Paranormal Canine. And so that's Scout's channel as well. So we're training him to be more in the paranormal field. And he impressed us a couple of times when we were out there in Brown Springs. I mean, he alerted to things that nobody else was alerted to and caught all of our attention. We all reacted on it right off the bat. So
Yeah.
but that's where we started from.
Yeah, he showed us quite a lot out there. His tracking skills, even at 4, I mean, he's barely 4 months, and he's massive already. So
he tracked you.
He tracked me, and he didn't see where I was going, but he finally just sniffed his way and followed my footsteps and found me down the trail. So he's gonna be a good tracker.
On Scout's channel, do y'all put a GoPro on him so you can get a visual of what he's looking at, or how's Scout's channel done?
Well, right now it's just us training him because he's just a puppy, and so we're not going to throw him out in the environment without having.
We don't want him
training.
to eat the GoPro.
but right now, a couple of the videos that we have posted is one we went out there and took him to a cemetery and had him walk around the cemetery, and we just watched his behavior and how he was acting there. And so once we get the training more honed in and get it locked in with him, then we're going to get a military style harness or vest for him, so we can have him like carry his own food, carry his own water, attach a GoPro or whatever we decide to attach to him while he's walking around.
His work gear.
Yeah. So when he knows when this vest goes on, it's work time.
Yeah.
It's time to get to work.
Yep.
Also, we want him to be a service dog too, so he can help out outside of the paranormal field, not just inside. So
that's cool. Definitely.
Yeah, lots of training ahead of us, but he catches on very quick.
Yeah.
Except for today. Today he's like, screw y'all, I'm not listening to a word you're saying. I'm home.
Well, that's because Randy kept giving him people food.
Yeah.
Thanks, Randy.
He didn't, Randy just didn't want to clean the dishes. He's like, here, you clean the dishes. I don't blame you, Randy.
Randy said he made to feed him.
He has to work for his food.
Yeah.
I guess you were his work. Feed me. Okay.
So what's the scariest encounter y'all had while y'all are out ghost hunting on y'all's channel? What's a good video to go watch to get you acclimated to that?
Ooh, there's a couple of them. I'd probably say either finding the Ouija board in a cemetery.
Ooh.
Or
y'all tell that story. You want to tell that story? Because that gave me the EBGBs.
Well, we found a Ouija board in the cemetery.
All right, I'll make it a little bit easier for her. We were out doing Randonautica.
Yeah, we were.
And we had hit so many different places. They were all dead ends, and we figured we'd try to do one more. And so we pulled up a Randonautica, hit a pin, and followed it to the cemetery we didn't even know existed. And we went in, and while we were walking around in the cemetery, we were looking at the old headstones and things like that. And there's a shoe hanging on the fence at one point. We thought
just
was
one
weird.
random shoe.
And we were walking. The snow was hard, so we were walking on top of the snow. We weren't even breaking through the snow. That's how cold it was. And while we were looking around, Marianne spotted something in the bushes. She got a little closer to it, and then when the light hit it just right, we realized it was a Ouija board sitting in a sage bush.
In a sage bush.
And so, ironic, right? And so what happened was we kind of looked at each other, and we do have this video on our channel, but we kind of looked at each other like, what do we do with this thing? And we pulled it out of the bush, and we were looking at it, and it was brand new. I mean, it looked brand new.
Yeah, it looked
wasn't
like it was,
weathered or anything.
Yeah.
And while we were standing there looking at it, all I saw was her turn and hightail it out of there. And of course, I see her start running like mad. So I start following her, running like mad. And she takes a header into this ice snow.
Oh, I biffed it
and
good.
just crashes into it.
Yeah.
But she bounced right back up. That's how freaked out she was. She bounced right back up and kept on running. She barely even slowed
I
down.
just had to outrun him.
And I picked up her light, but I lost 3 of my flashlights
Yeah.
while we were running out of there. But something followed us, and I can't really describe what it was. And you were just saying it was something big and dark.
Yeah, I mean, it was. You guys, this place is out miles and miles and miles in the desert. Like, there's no town anymore. It's just, that's all there is. There's no lights.
Mm-hmm.
And what I thought I saw was some dude running towards us. Now, after the fact, kind of trying to put 2 and 2 together, I didn't see them carrying any lights, so I don't know if it was a real person or not. And in fact, I remember saying, "Is that a real person? Is that a real person?" Because it looked solid, but it's pitch black out there, so.
Mm-hmm. And we hightailed it out of there, and after we got out of there, we realized I lost my flashlight. So we decided we had to go back the next day during the daytime to try to recover my flashlights. And when we got there, when we were walking along the gate before we even got inside the cemetery, the weirdest thing that we saw was we saw these footprints in the snow. There's no adult footprints. There's no other footprints, just tiny footprints of what looked like a child. I'd probably say toddler age, if not maybe a little smaller. Just footprints going in the snow. And mid-step, it turned into an animal print. And so it's like it was a child, animal. And then when we got inside the cemetery, you saw these child footprints just running all over the place, but there was no adult footprints.
Adults.
There was no other footprints but this child's and ours from when we biffed it in the snow. When she biffed it in the snow. But when we got in, we found our flashlights sitting in that bush where we found the board. So somebody collected all 3 flashlights and they put them in that bush where the board was. And she was even looking around the bush because at this point the sun was out, the snow was, you're dropping in the snow a little bit more, and there's no footprints around the bush either. So it was like, how did the flashlights get in the bush without somebody actually walking up and putting them in?
Yeah, I cannot figure that one out at all.
Yeah. And a side note, Gary W's in your chat, shout out. He mentioned something about the scary doll video, but we'll let you guys go to the channel and find out about the scary doll because we're still dealing with that one.
The tunnel after that was pretty much up there on my list also, because it also ties to the board. So that's what I was going to say next. So probably those 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where everything freaking got attacked in there.
See, y'all didn't get the board out and ask no questions or anything while you were there.
That's in another video at another location.
There was no planchette in there. It was just the board. There was no planchette.
There's a series of videos that all tie together to break out the whole thing. But let's just say that board ended up 15 feet in the air in a tunnel, and we have no idea how it got there.
And I said, I'm out. Wow. Peace out. I'm done.
I'd have been done long before that.
We're a glutton for punishment.
Oh man.
So if you haven't gone and subscribed to Tippa TV, you've got to do it. Tell us what Tippa stands for.
Originally, it stood for Technical Investigations of Paranormal Activity. We were tech support for local paranormal teams.
Mhm.
And that's an interesting story. You told me that story around the campfire, but we'll save that for another time. But I was trying to think of like something funny that happened or something unusual. And so I'll start off with mine since and give y'all time to think about it.
Oh, I already have mine. I'm ready.
Oh, well, go right ahead.
No. You go ahead. You first. It's okay.
Now, I take great pride in, I'm not going to say I'm an expert with hammocks, but but I'm pretty good, you know. But the hammock that Tex bought was a single hammock, and Larry and I both used double hammocks, and so they wrap around you, and so this you've got no room, not a lot of room to move in it. Well, when I set it up, I got in it, had no problems. I got in and out of it 3 times. Not a problem at all. Well, after I'd set it up later on during the day, Tex had given me a mummy bag. And so I just went and put the mummy bag in it. And it was, I don't know what time of the night it was, but it was late. And I'd gotten up at 3 o'clock that morning to catch my flight. And so whenever I made it, I had set up a tent, Christine's tent, and my hammock away from camp. And everybody else was set up around camp. And that's just usually how I do. I feel like if something comes up and the less people that are there, the more likely something may come up to me. And so I'm trying to get in that mummy bag. And it's pitch black, no moon. And I'm kind of wallering trying to get in it. And that thing slipped and spun, and I stuck my hand down to catch myself. And the way that I ended up, I couldn't get out of it. And so I took my hand and went to reach down for the ground. And when I went to reach down for the ground, that thing spit me out. And I fell on my head. Now, this is one thing that I didn't tell y'all, that when I fell and landed on my head,
that was the safest part of your body.
I heard 3 bones in my neck crack.
Oh.
Tack, tack, tack. Just like that. And I'm laying there on the ground thinking, let me see if I can wiggle my toes.
Right.
And so I sat there and wiggled my toes and wiggled my fingers and got up and thought, I don't think it's a good idea to try to get back in this thing, and get back in this mummy bag and get this hammock readjusted right. So I walked over to the tent to where Christine was sleeping at, and I said, give me those rent-a-car keys. I'm going to sleep in the car tonight. But so that's my kind of unusual, funny story. And so, Marianne, you tell us.
Well, I'm glad you're okay. First of all, I'm glad that
Yes.
didn't paralyze you or anything.
Right.
My funny story. We are packing and packing and packing everything, and making sure we got all the scouts food and water and things to keep him company so he's not chewing up all of our equipment. And we get about almost 2 hours down the road, and I just go, "Oh crap!" And he goes, "What'd you forget?" And I said, "My shoes." How do you forget your shoes?
That's
She had-
pretty
I
bad.
forgot. I was wearing flip-flops. So, and I was thinking, because I have sometimes a hard time sitting in the car too long, and I didn't want my feet swollen and all that things. So I thought, well, I'll get comfortable in my flip-flops, but I'll bring my good shoes, my outdoor hiking shoes.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. They were still here. So I went barefoot most of the time and in my flip-flops. And
Wow.
but another thing I forgot to mention about Tex, heart of gold again. I texted him just telling him how ridiculous I was. We were going to stop off at a Walmart and grab some new shoes. And he said, "Well, what size are you?" And he shoots back and he says, "My wife, my wife has an extra pair of hiking boots that she'll let you borrow." And he did. He brought these awesome hiking boots for me to wear while I was there and protect my toesies because I forgot my shoes.
That and the mosquitoes in the Jeep. That was another thing.
Oh, yeah, that could be yours.
Well, do you guys have time for another story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, night 2. It was night 2, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Night 2.
Yep.
We get all ready to go to bed, right? A few people are outside the Jeep talking, hanging out. We crawl in the Jeep. Dog's laying on our sleeping bag. We're trying to just get some rest. It's hot. The dog is panting. And we were laying there, and Marianne kept saying, "Stupid mosquito." And a couple of minutes later, "Stupid mosquito." I'm like, "What are
It's
you
just
talking
buzzing
about?"
my ear.
She's like, "It's buzzing my ear. It keeps buzzing my ear." And a few minutes later, it buzzed my ear. It's like, holy crap. So we get this bright idea. We're going to grab our flashlight and we're going to turn it on. When we turned it on, the entire ceiling of our Jeep was covered in mosquitoes.
Oh.
They're all just
We were
hanging
under
there
attack.
looking at us like we're the main course, And so we sit there and we grab tissue and we're trying to smash them with tissues, right? Our ceiling of our Jeep is just covered in
Blood
blood.
splattered like there was a crime
Oh.
scene.
And so we smashed most of them, all that we can see and all that we can get to. And we shut off the lights. We try to get comfortable again, lay there. Another mosquito skims her ear. We're laying there for a few minutes longer and we'll turn on the lights again. And there's a whole new batch.
Oh.
So they're staring at us. So we try to kill those off. And then she makes me close the window. But in order to close the window, I got to put the key in the ignition. But we piled all our gear up in the front seat. So I have to move half the gear just to get the key in to close this window. And then the dog starts panting so bad. He was just sweating really bad all over the sleeping bag. And at first she thought he had an accident, but it was just him sweating and
And the
panting so
condensation
bad.
and stuff. Because we don't have humidity where we're from.
And so I got out of the Jeep at whatever time, and I'm sitting there in the chair just staring at the sky saying, please, please make this just calm down so we can, and I will never get the picture out of my head of all those mosquitoes sitting on the ceiling just staring down at us like we're the main course.
Oh.
Because it was bad.
But then he's like, "Forget it. I'm not sleeping anyway, so I might as well be outside." Takes the dog outside. About 15 minutes later, he opens the door and he's like, "I'm coming back in." And all of a sudden, behind him, I hear him, all these coyotes. He's like, "Nope, I'm coming back in."
They were getting closer.
And I mean, I guess we made kind of a ruckus because the next day everyone's like, "Man, what was all that banging going on in here?" Couldn't figure out what was going on. No, it was us.
But a couple of really nice guys actually pitched in and picked us up a tent.
Yes.
And that was huge because it made our last night there a lot more comfortable.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It even had a doggy door.
Yes, how to talk you to it.
You know, Randy and Todd and myself, we were standing probably 15 feet away and we were just talking. And it was kind of comical. All of a sudden, the flashlight lit up, and all we seeing is hands hitting at the top and all that commotion. And I thought, wow, man, Tippa TV is kind of kinky.
Not that night.
Staying alive. Staying alive. Staying alive.
But, you know, we went to town the next day, and it was funny when we were in that box store, you know, looking around for gear and stuff and picking up stuff. Everywhere Marianne went, she was taking those Tippa TV YouTube cards and dropping them in sacks and boxes. And...
I didn't think you were going to rat me out.
That's it.
Yeah. Somebody's going to open their case of beer and see one in there.
And go, what is that?
Tippa TV was here.
In your beer.
That was just it was great, and it was such a fun time, and
we had great weather.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, we had missed the whole rain the week before. It was gorgeous while we were there, and then apparently there was tornado warnings after we left, so it was like it was totally just meant to be for us.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That, and
weather.
if anybody ever goes there and plans on flying a drone, just be aware that I flew my drone for a period of time, and not too long after I landed it, a military jet blew right past the top of us.
True story.
Yeah. I mean, buzzed us treetop level.
Yep.
So I don't know how thrilled they were that I was flying the drone or not, but that was pretty obvious that it was low, and
but they knew where we were.
Same course as where I had the drone, just a few minutes before. So
yeah,
that's interesting.
Randy says, "I did." He got the card.
So I know y'all can't go into great detail about what happened, but give us an overview of what happened. And Mark could go, or okay.
I thought we did just tell you what happened. It was great.
that was the documentary.
All right.
Attacked by mosquitoes.
No, I mean, I think it's safe to say that we all had some experience of whatever kind, you know, whether it was, maybe hearing something or maybe seeing something or maybe feeling something. I can't speak for everyone because I don't know, but I'm pretty safe to say that we all had some experience takeaway from it in that area.
Yeah. And I could say, without sharing too much, I can say that I did visually see a phenomenon or something that I couldn't answer. We heard things that we couldn't track down and we couldn't identify fully. Not to mention Scout and the way Scout was behaving there. You could tell he was picking up on things that the rest of us weren't. So we feel like there's definitely a lot going on out there, and we just barely scratched the surface of it. Being new to the area, new to the wildlife, new to all that. But I also know that everybody is well protected. I know that the crew we were with were experienced enough to make sure everybody was safe. And I also got to say that stream, I didn't know about that until I was standing there looking at it. I did not know that stream ran under the cemetery. Then came out of the ground on the other end. I didn't know that until I was standing there. And yeah, you look at that main river that goes down the side and how dark and dirty and everything it is. And then you see the stream coming from underneath the cemetery is crystal clear.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see straight to the bottom. Yeah.
So it was pretty amazing experience. And yeah, there's some things that we're going to be sharing with people on the documentary.
Absolutely.
Wow.
when do you expect the documentary to be out?
That's kind of a trick question. It's going to be soon. My laptop decided to have issues, so it's not letting me access my laptop. So I'm going to be doing all the editing in our studio, but we're also going to be heading to Colorado here in a few days for a couple of days for
UrbexCon.
UrbexCon. So I was initially hoping to have it done before Halloween hit, but it might be a week or so after that. I'm not 100% sure yet, but it'll be out soon.
Yeah.
All right. I'll be looking for it on Tippa TV. Are you going to have Mark Neville in it, really?
Heck yeah, we are.
He's going to be the highlight. He's going to be the one in the forefront most of the time, holding his monopod with his camera on it. Yeah, he's going to be up in the forefront, giving all the instructions for everybody of, okay, who's taking front, who's in the front, and who's in the back.
That's how he is. He's always bossy. but that's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We did one thing we did on this too is we didn't realize it, but Scout drank out of that stream, and we're like, he just drank dead people.
He didn't seem to mind.
No,
Probably not.
And I'll just say something about that cemetery. And it's because it's a fascination that Larry and I have. But Gary Spike Sr. believes that on a previous outing there, that he saw little people. And that's something that it just fascinates us. Yeah. And so I'm like picking his brain, about the little people. But that's I really enjoy going. We went to that cemetery twice, once in the daytime and kind of scoped things out, and Tex filled us in on the different things that he went, that he had experienced there. And then we went back at night, and it was a spooky place at night. And there was some, can't wait for the documentary to come out on it.
Yeah, hold back, Mark. Oh, man.
That was a pretty cool cemetery, though, just to see how old it was, and the fact that it was in such a, an out of the way place. I can't wait to hear some more of the history. I asked a couple questions to Tex to see if he knew some of the history on the last day. I think it was after you guys had left, but had some interesting things happen through the night, and I would love to know if what I was picking up on was accurate or not. So,
well, we're lucky we made it home at all.
We're like, yeah.
No, our Jeep had an issue. One of our front driveline, I believe it was, started just making this horrible grinding noise right as soon as we started leaving. And we got maybe 20 minutes out, and we called Tex and was like, we might have a problem, because it was just loud and grinding and everything. And he came over, and we were going to get some tools, because I was going to see what I could do about that front drive line, because it's a all-wheel drive Jeep, and I don't know why they do that, but and we got to the point where it's like, well, either I just risk it and try to drive it home, or because we're broke, we don't have any money, we can't pay anybody to fix whatever's going on. God knows how much it would cost.
Oh, geez.
So we just decided to risk it and start driving home. And this loud grinding noise, I mean, just anytime it was in gear and the wheels were rolling, it's just loud, echoing off all the buildings and the cars around us. And we drove it home the entire way like that. Every neighborhood we went into, we sounded like an armored tank going down the road. And
Yeah, it did.
I was stressing out the whole time. I was looking at some of the areas we're driving through, thinking to myself, man, there's nothing out here. There's no buildings, there's no businesses, there's no traffic, or no cell service. If we break down here, we're in a bad spot.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a choice. We just had to keep going forward. One thing I can share though is we did have a really sketch experience
Yes, it was
in Colorado.
Oh my gosh.
I can't remember the name of the particular road it was on now, but I think it was something like
I don't know.
Not Highway 6 or something like that, but
Mm-mm.
we'll look it up. She pinned it. It took me down through this weird stretch of road because we decided to go through the mountains instead of through the desert, so at least we're closer to civilization if I did have a breakdown. It's way late at night. She's asleep. I'm driving. I'm struggling to keep my eyes open. I'm hallucinating, seeing stuff in the road that's not there. And, I'm trying to shake my head because I'm just trying to get to a spot where I could pull over and sleep. And while I'm seeing all this weird stuff and whatnot, all of a sudden, in the back of the Jeep, I hear this pop. And it almost sounded like somebody took a snowball and threw it at the window or, something like that. And it woke her up. She's like, what was that? And, so I just kind of edged over to the side of the road, got out and walked around the Jeep to take a look to see if somebody broke a window or something. Nothing was broke. Got back in. I was telling her this road is not right. There's something weird going on here. And so we started driving a little bit further. And I believe we saw a couple of deer on the sides of the road and stuff like that. And then we got up to this spot where I was just driving. I was going maybe about 30 miles an hour, 25. And I practically had to slam on the brakes and all the gear fell on top of the dog. But there was this rabbit in the middle of the road. And we're like, okay, lucky I didn't hit him. And he jumps off the side of the road. It's like, okay, we get situated and put it in drive and get ready to start going forward. And then the rabbit jumps back in
right
front of
in
the
front.
Jeep. And so I stop and it jumps off the side of the road. So we get ready to drive and it jumps back in front of the Jeep again. Every time I started to drive, this rabbit was jumping in front of the Jeep like it was stopping us from going. And eventually I put it in park and it jumped up on this little hill next to a fence and it just sat there and it just stared at us. And we saw a sign that represented carriage horses or horse carriages.
Yeah, it was like oh geez, you see them all in Amish country, horse and buggy cross. Yep.
Yeah, you saw the sign
in Colorado.
And then underneath the sign you see artillery range or something like that, where they do a lot of shooting and stuff.
Yeah,
in
firing range or something like that.
So I'm thinking, okay, you got those in a firing range, you got a rabbit that's acting weird as hell. And then we start driving again, and all of a sudden this Jeep flies up behind us. And so I make a fast turn, he honks his horn, and he starts following us, flashing his headlights at us. And at this point, we're thinking, this is late at night. This is a sketchy area already. Last thing I'm going to do is pull over and see what this guy wants. And he'd get close, and then he'd back off, and he'd turn off on his brights, and then he'd turn them off a few minutes later. And so I thought, man, I'm getting the hell out of here. So I sped up as fast as I could. Of course, the Jeep sounds like an armored tank. Remember this. So everybody is hearing this. And we're flying around corners and we're just gunning it everywhere. And this Jeep is just keeping up with us. I mean, we went at easy 100 miles. This guy kept following us. Got onto a main road and got enough distance ahead of him that I was able to turn off onto a side street, flip around, and shut off my headlights. And we sat there for a minute, and the Jeep drove past us, and I shot out behind him. And then he slowed down to an awkward speed, and he turned down the street, and we went down to the next one, and then flipped another U-turn to see if he was going to hop back on the main road, and he disappeared. And we're just like, that was not cool.
Yeah, it was probably like 150 miles this dude was following us. And light, brights on for a while, then he'd turn them off, then he'd turn them on, then he'd turn them off, then turn them on, then turn them off. And it's like
matching our turns. Everywhere we turned, he turned. There's one stretch where there was a small passing lane, so I thought I was going to get in front of this car that was in front of me. I tried to get in front of him so he'd be in between me and the Jeep, and no, that Jeep shot forward and cut him off so he could stay behind us.
Why? I don't know.
Whatever this guy was doing, it just
Weird.
Kind of reminds me of Jeepers Creepers.
kind of felt like it.
Oh, me.
But we made it
Wow.
home alive, so that's what matters.
I almost stopped by a car wash just so I could hose myself off with one of those pressure washers. That sleeping in that Jeep for that long, it just
With a dog.
Yeah.
yeah. Shower was a much needed thing. So.
It was
Wow.
great though. It was great. It was worth it. All of it was worth it.
Randy said he was trying to help me. No, I don't think this guy was trying to help us.
Evidently not.
No, no. 150 miles? No. Mm-mm.
What's he gonna do? Is pull us over to tell us, hey, your Jeep sounds like a tank.
No, thanks. And it was what, like 2:00 in the morning or something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere around there. They use the same GPS. We weren't using GPS. we were running.
Wow. This has been a great show tonight. And it was a pleasure to meet y'all. And I was just in awe of y'all's production skills, the equipment that y'all have, how professional y'all were, and it was just really an honor to meet both of y'all.
Thank you.
And we would like to give you this opportunity to leave our audience with any final thoughts that you might have.
For me, I guess the final thoughts I'd leave is if you are new to this, talk to the right people, hook up with the right people, go out with the right people, because you can get a lot of misinformation. You can get a lot of, you could be misled in a lot of different ways. And if you're truly there for the experience or figuring out whatever the reason is you're doing it, make sure you educate yourself as much as you can with the right people, and have people there with you if you can, because it makes a world of difference if you have somebody you could ask questions to ahead of time, colors, smells, visuals, things like that. Because if you just go out there wandering around and something happens, you don't know what to do, how to react. Because that's one thing that they taught me was, hey,
Yeah.
if you see something, don't look at it, don't point at it, and don't yell, hey, do you guys see that over there? Just act calm, act like you're still doing whatever it is you're doing, and then just under your breath subtly say, I think I just saw something over there, and just want to let you guys know, because I actually had to do that.
Yeah.
So what would you say?
The whole thing was amazing from beginning to end. I learned a lot. I think that was another good tidbit too that I walked away from not really realizing, because I'm, wow, did you see that? Or, hey, did you hear that? Or whatever, and that's not, it's different. So that was important. Also, I can let y'all know that even though I didn't personally see anything at Brown Springs, I did find Bigfoot when I came home, because it's a very long drive and my feet were very swollen.
Scared the dog.
So there's my ending thought. I had very big feet. Ta-da!
Well, Josh and Marianne, we appreciate y'all coming on here tonight and sharing what happened at Brown Springs as much as you could. And we look forward to the documentary coming out on Tippa TV, and we will put the link in the comments tomorrow so people can go there that aren't already subscribed, and they can subscribe and check out y'all's videos.
Thank you.
Thank you
And
so
I
much.
will be doing that myself.
I can't wait to go back. Really, I think that would be great.
Yeah. Mark, are you going back?
I'm going back, Larry, and I'm going to drag you with me.
Woo!
All right.
Hey, when you guys go, let us know so we can meet up with you.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll bring you a hammock.
Well, tomorrow night, remember that Mark and I will be on Dixie Cryptid's channel for live. and Kerry Arnold will be there. He'll be the one everybody wants to listen to anyway, because he's going to be talking about when the 168 is coming out. So we will be on there to promote that. And what time is that, Mark?
Not sure of the time. Let's see.
Man, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Hang on. Let me.
Reddy says, "Bring fishing poles." Yeah, that's the one thing Tex forgot. He brought his Tex.
Hang on. Okay.
It's better than forgetting your shoes.
Yeah, definitely.
Cam says it is at 8:30 tomorrow
8:30
night.
tomorrow night.
Is that Central?
Central
Yes.
time, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Anything else, Mark?
Yes. I just want to say thank you to Tex one last time for being an awesome camp host. It's at the top of my list as far as camp hosts go, and what an awesome outing he put together. So we appreciate you, Tex.
Absolutely.
It sounds like a good time and good folks. Hate I missed it, but some
There's
people
always-
got to work for a living, you know?
Hey, this is work.
That's true. It is. No
Go
doubt
out-
about it.
Go out there without your shoes. Tell me it's not work.
Yeah, I agree. All right, folks, we're going to get off here, and we appreciate y'all, Josh and Marianne.
Thank
and
you again.
Hopefully we'll do it again sometime.
I hope so.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Night, footers.
Bye.